It's good to be back. The wait is finally over, and after a 2-month break it is once again time to return back to Hyrule for the premiere of the second season of Zelda Unknown. To kick off with a bang, I thought we should go extensively over Hyrule Field, one of the most iconic provinces in the Zelda series and undeniably tied to Link's best friend and her home, Lon Lon Ranch. But first, the grass. It's so beautiful. Along with me, I brought fellow Zelda theorist and enthusiast Mr. Wily to take a deeper perspective on the central territory and hub of Zelda Wii U.
Unlike other areas of the game, we at this point have plenty of information on Hyrule Field from the E3 reveal and the Game Awards gameplay presentation. Based on what we have seen so far, we can state the following. Zelda Wii U/NX Hyrule Field is the most extensive iteration of the area in the series. The map of the province and its location bears striking similarities to the one from Ocarina of Time. And finally, based on Scooptendo's calculations, you will have no other choice but to trust your best companion in order to cross this vast grassy terrain. Epona, the Noble. Ever since we learned these 6 magical notes, we have been in love with her. And after a 10-year absence from the series, it is time for a long-due return of our favorite mare. And what is better than having a horse at your disposal that avoids trees, rides herself automatically and assists you in battle? She seems to be so versatile that it naturally brings up another question. Will Epona be the main sidekick of the Zelda Wii U?
It would make sense, as several statements given on the game by series producer Mr. Eiji Aonuma have been clear that this massive seamless open world adventure will not involve as much hand-holding as in the last couple of installments. Basically, it could mean an end to annoying companions telling you where to go next, what percentage of success you have, or pointing out obvious facts. Navi, Tattle and Fi, you will be deeply missed. Contrary, in Zelda Wii U there's a high probability that it will be just you and your horse in a vast, dangerous and unexplored world. In a setting like this one, Epona could easily have a more central role compared to past installments, specifically seen from a plot and character development perspective, marking at the same time a brilliant opportunity to give us some more insight into the strong and unbreakable bond between Link and his horse.
It is likely that the only places where Link will be separated for a long time from his trusty mare will be when he's beating dungeons. This could partially be tied to the fact that Epona in both the E3 reveal and the Game Awards presentation wears a substantial amount of Link's equipment. And she's most likely required to trigger the arrow time effect, or set up camps in order to skip time within Zelda Wii U's lengthy day and night cycle. Based on all of these functions, Epona is definitely meant to be one of the stars of this game. And the makeover of her mane and tail color to dark might be one way to signify or highlight her central position. A role which would differentiate heavily from her appearances in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, but bear at least some similarities to Twilight Princess, where Epona was more directly tied to the plot, allowing Wolf Link to communicate with her. In this context, a communication system with the horse might be implemented in Zelda Wii U.
Moreover, I firmly believe that we will most likely get a horse this time close to the beginning, as Epona will most likely carry a large part of our equipage. It is also high probability that we together with Epona might be able to enter all provinces and urban environments, including Castletown from Hyrule Field, completely seamlessly and with no loading screens. This could mark for a lot of new gameplay possibilities in the game, as both Skyrim and The Witcher 3 managed to implement specific aspects for horseback activities, both within and outside of urban environments. In the Witcher Wild Hunt, for instance, you could participate in a number of horse races and inflict substantially more damage to your enemies when slicing them from the back of your horse, compared to sword fighting on the ground. Zelda Wii U might include the same type of mechanics, and it might be that the only way to activate the slow motion mechanic in this game will be from the back of your horse. This might imply that the sword and shield horseback combats may as well include a slow motion mechanic, Then, you have the aspect of fast travel across the land. From the Game Awards presentation, we could clearly see that the carrots on the bottom of the screen are gone. But does this imply that Epona will never get tired in this game? Or does there exist a higher gallop level that was not presented during the gameplay demonstration? I would think so, as riding your horse automatically stuck to the pathway at the same speed without your horse becoming least tired would get boring very quickly.
Zelda Wii U's Hyrule Field is massive and will need lots and lots of content to justify its extent. Thus, with Epona making a comeback in Zelda Wii U, what would fit better than bringing back her home, Lon Lon Ranch? The reason for bringing this up is the similar layouts of the maps and landmarks of the field both in Zelda Wii U and Ocarina of Time. Could it be that our favorite ranch will be one of the many ranches scattered around Hyrule Field? After all, the E3 reveal consisted of several farmers working in the field, while in the distance you could see several small farmer huts. What would in this instance fit better than a giant ranch with significance to the main quest? Separate in-depth side quests and most importantly some heart-inducing horse races, which will put us to the edge of our choice. If implemented, then Lon Lon Ranch should become one of the central locations in the game.
Thinking of it, Lon Lon Ranch from Ocarina of Time does resemble a fortress with its location on top of Hyrule Field and its construction. If you look closer, it might also be one, seeing how Ocarina of Time is heavily tied to the events of the lengthy Hyrulean Civil War. What makes this further interesting is how the ranch was expanded from a tiny dairy ranch selling Lon Lon milk in the Force era Minish Cap to the massive structure found in the era of the Hero of Time. As eras passed, descendants of the original Talon and Maloon must have carried out expansions, and at some point, either prior to the outbreak of the Civil War or during it, the ranch must have been seized and fortified by Hyrulean knights, as it was strategically placed at the highest point of Hyrule Field and close to impregnable. No wonder why then the knights sought interest in the place, as fighting from higher grounds would grant them severe advantages such as better perspective over the land and a safe place to keep the horses hidden away from the advancing enemy. The Civil War must therefore have brought some radical changes to the Milk Ranch, as it became the main stronghold and compound of the Hyrulean army. Naturally, the elite knights or cavalry brought with them the horses, which throughout the lengthy war bred with each other and set the golden standard for a new breed of noble horses. This is the one Epona derives from. And to clear it up, Ganondorf's horse has nothing to do with the ranch, as one of the gossip stones found in Ocarina of Time clearly states that his stallion is of Gerudo breed.
But let us take a deeper look at Ocarina of Time's Lon Lon Ranch. First thing worth to note is the two poles located at the entrance of the fortification. These are placed in similar fashion to the fortresses made by the Roman Empire, where huge wooden poles were smashed into the ground and surrounded by one or more lookout towers. And guess what? At the edge of the ranch you can find a long wooden fence, a tall stone tower, and both of them do not serve any articular function to the ranch. This tower must obviously have served as a defensive lookout tower during the Civil War. The enemy did not capture the fortress, but the defense of it cost the life of most of the Hyrulean knights, as they are nowhere to be seen in the era of the Hero of Time. After the war was concluded and the kingdom unified, the remaining Hyrulean forces left the fortress. The horses remained, as administration over the ranch was handed back to the ranch owner Talon.
This would mean that Ocarina of Time's Malon was born and raised during the Hyrulean Civil War, in the presence of heavily armored knights and their horses. These memories stay with her, as one of the gossip stones in front of the Temple of Time reveals that she desires to one day be taken away by a knight in shining armor, which in the end became a reality, as she most likely married the Hero of Time, whose father was one of the heroic Hyrulean knights who defended Lon Lon Fortress and sacrificed his own life in the name of the King of Hyrule and the safety of his wife and newborn son during the Civil War. This brings us over to another important question, the timeline placement of Zelda Wii U. Since in every installment where Lon Lon Ranch has appeared, Malon and Talon have also been present. thus we can assume that an inclusion of the ranch in the game will also mark a return of the characters of Malon and Talon. The form of the ranch, however, will be radically different depending on the timeline placement of the game. If the game takes place in the unified timeline, let's say somewhere between the era of the Hero of Men and the Hyrulean Civil War, then the ranch will most likely be a tiny farm that will either be larger or smaller than the one found in Minish Cap. If the game takes place in the wake and during the events of the Civil War, we might be witness to the transformation of the ranch into a fortress and the heroic defense of it.
The fortified ranch could also appear if Zelda Wii U takes place prior to the Imprisoning War in the Downfall timeline, in the wake of the Gerudo-Hylian War and after the events of Twilight Princess in the Child timeline, or prior to the Great Flood in the Adult timeline. In other words, there is quite a possibility that Lon Lon Ranch could make a return in Zelda Wii U. Apart from Lon Lon Ranch, we will most likely see the field filled out with several points of interest, such as noble manors and estates, country houses, and possibly even see a return of the grottos found in Ocarina of Time. With dynamic NPCs working out in the fields during the day and sleeping during the night, it could be that we in the game will be able to follow the farmers back to their homes when evening draws near. This way the game will add a whole new layer of realism to the gameplay, where you can take a part in the daily life of NPCs, who will react to you, with a mechanic that has been absent since 2000 and Majora's Mask. On top of it, it might be that enemies roaming the field would suddenly attack the NPCs you decided to follow back home. These type of in-game discover events, such as the timeshift monsters from E3 2004 reveal, will most likely be common sight in Zelda Wii U. In order to trigger them, you will need to be at the right or wrong, depending on how you see it, place and moment. By adding more content to the field, dynamic NPCs with day and night activities, and in-game discover events, Nintendo EAD will change the perception of Hyrule Field forever.
Partially summing up, Hyrule Field and Zelda Wii U will be the first in the franchise to include more than a vast empty field, by bringing in dynamic NPCs, mini-boss encounters, land puzzles, hidden content, side quests, several ranches, huts, houses, and perhaps even villages. All of this while Link, along with his trusty steed and main companion, Epona, will be able to explore this vast province in a more versatile and seamless way. Finally, we might see the return of Lon Lon Ranch with the characters of Malon and Talon, which might appear as a mighty fortress or a humble milk ranch depending on the timeline placement of the game. Nonetheless, we have barely scratched the surface of Hyrule Field, as it is widely believed that it has served as the center battle site in the many wars that have ridden Hyrule. So tune in 2 weeks' time for the second part as we explore the possibilities for a war and battle setting in Zelda Wii U.
And if you want to shorten down the wait for the video, then check out the theory we did on my channel, on the origins of the Hylian Shield, where also the complete theory on Lon Lon Ranch's origin and the downfall will be uploaded in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you so much for watching and the continued support to this channel, as it means a tremendous amount to me to produce these videos for you. Also, do not forget to subscribe to Commonwealth Realm and Dr.Wily for more in-depth Zelda videos. This fall in particular, you will see 3 series on this channel: Zelda Unknown Season 2, History Time, and Zelda Timelines, a series which will cover the timelines of all the most important races in the Zelda universe. In addition, I would like to inform that I will be attending the GameStop Northern European Conference, GameStop Expo 2015, in Copenhagen on Thursday the 17th of September. If you want to meet me, I'll be there and I will be wearing a Commonwealth Realm t-shirt. You will see the logo on the front and a large logo on the back of my polo t-shirt. Among the games I will have the possibility to play there at the Bella Convention Center will be Star Fox Zero, Triforce Heroes, Star Wars Battlefront, Dark Souls 3, and see some new gameplay footage of Fallout 4. So if you have any specific requests in terms of what I should play or what you would want to see a video on, then leave a comment in the section below and I will read it and I will make sure that we get the video up on this channel. Until then, this was the Commonwealth Realm
and Dr.Wily,
and we will see you girls and guys soon.